Hello, everyone, and welcome to Between Realities. It is your favorite VR podcast. We are so excited to have you here with us. My name is Alex. I am joined here by my co-host, Skiva. Skiva, how the hell are you, dude?
I'm pretty good, man. Can't complain.
I am too.
It's been a much better week than my last year was, so this is great. We got dialing up the the spaceship space.
Yep, this is our second broadcast from this specific space, and before the show, I was commenting on how fucking nice it is. Like, you know, we've done the show from a handful of different locations, and where we are now is great and permanent. So
yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about having a spaceship. We can fly it anywhere and do the show from anywhere.
Mm-hmm. That we can.
And hopefully one day when expos are back, we'll be able to do that as well.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
That is going to be awesome. We'll just throw up a green screen somewhere, sit in front of it.
Green screen? What are you talking about? Fly the ship in.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, immersion breaking moment. Hello, everyone in the chat. How's it going? Zero Cool was here, chatting it up an hour before the show started.
Zero Cool's the homie.
He is the homie. That's exactly right. So thanks for being here, Zero Cool. Delirium Drew, how's it going, dude? Lissa, a pleasure to see you as always. Glitch Fandango.
Dude. He's the man with the plan.
Glitch Fandango is the real deal. This guy has been going back through the backlog of Between Realities episodes and leaving a comment on every single one. So it's pretty cool, man. Thanks for watching all the shows and getting caught up, dude. You're gonna be one of the elite that know it all. That's pretty great. Mr. Trinidad, thank you always for making sure that you set the precedence nicely, because I would expect nothing less from the Between Realities audience. So thanks for blazing it up the proper way. Onikaze, also thank you for being here as well. The True VR podcast, fucking homie. He is up in all the shows that I love, and it is always great to see him. Yep. Crazy Ivan is here as well. 1745. It is great to see you. And hey, Spice Woozle, also a pleasure. German Rifter, bro. German Rifter, we just saw your article. A nice little, not your article, but a nice little paragraph about you in VR Trend magazine. And it was really cool to see you in there, dude.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We'll get into this after we
introduce our guest, who's fucking chilling and just waiting patiently. So if you guys have never met this guy, he has what is kind of like a late night talk show vibe about VR in VR. He is a robot / man / TV
/ rad.
Not really sure
whatever.
Yeah, what exactly is going on with him, but we're really stoked to have him. We were on his show last season, and now he's on our show. Please welcome that Thom Clancy.
Hey guys, just a sec. I'm just shoring up the firewalls and making sure that a certain bargain bin Cyberman does not join us, and boom. All right. Hey guys, thanks for having
me. Thanks for that, dude. The firewall around here has been strong, and we appreciate you taking those extra precautions to, make sure that your robot time doesn't get taken up by a different robot.
Yeah, for sure.
There is one virtual reality robot, and it's this guy.
Well, dude, we are stoked to have you, man. Like I just said, we were on your show, that Thom Clancy show. I don't know how long ago was that? A couple months or something? A few months?
It feels like it was forever ago.
I know.
And now I'm thinking about it. It was a long time ago.
Podcast time, it's 50 years.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but it was really awesome, dude. We had a great time. It's a show that takes place inside a virtual studio, kind of like what is going on, with your studio that you're broadcasting to us from right now. And being in that space kind of provides these opportunities for gags and things like that I never really imagined until I saw you pulling this shit off. Like when we came on the show, the new graphics cards had just been announced. The new NVIDIA 3090s and shit. And everybody's talking about how fucking big they are. And then that Thom Clancy reaches behind his desk and pulls out a huge fucking video card. It's the size of, I don't know, a fucking car.
A Volvo.
Yeah, and it was hilarious, So it was really awesome to be on
that was an actual production unit. That was a reference card.
So it's pretty cool,
Good
man.
job on the board partners for shrinking that down to a reasonable size that fits in a medium tower.
Right?
So
Dude, that my 3090 is so friggin' big that I need a special pole thing to hold it up so it doesn't like come crashing off and like rip out my PCI Express bus, and like it's just huge. And it pumps out. I could like put an egg next to my computer and it would cook it in like a minute.
dang.
So
What's up,
Sounds
Grumpy
about
Duck?
right.
Good to see you, Grumpy Duck. And Hussein X is also here with us. Thanks for joining us.
what's up, guys?
We are here with that Thom Clancy. He is in virtual reality, and he's in virtual reality, and he's also within virtual reality there when he's doing it.
Very Inception like.
How long's the show been around? Tell us a little bit about like the about the origins of it and
Oh,
and how long
geez,
it's been going.
that goes way back. But before I do that, I just want to say hi, chat. I'm not with you all today. I'm on the show. This is weird. The whole thing started. Geez, I want to say in around 2017. At the end of 2016, my wife and I moved up to where we are now in Milwaukee, and a friend of mine wanted to. We got started working on ideas and like starting a YouTube channel and trying to find a way, because he's a really cool, very smart guy, but he's kind of flat personality wise. So we both kind of wanted to find a way to like kind of just weaponize my enthusiasm, because like
I like that.
anyone who's got me going on any particular subject that I have strong feelings about, which is everything, knows that I tend to get a little animated and I get really into it, and it's kind of infectious, but it's also kind of hard to just draw it out in an inorganic way. Like I can't sit down and write a script that's gonna get across that same kind of sense. So we tried a few things, and just like little internal videos that never made it online, and none of it really seemed to stick. And in Christmas of 2017, I was driving down to my in-laws' house, and it just occurred to me, like, why couldn't I play a character in virtual reality? Because I had just seen in a video that they had for behind the scenes for Star Wars Rogue One that they were using Unreal Engine to do the real-time visualization stuff for K2SO. And I was like, so if they can take that data and run a real-time animation, then I should be able to take my Vive and run a real-time animation. And so we started from there, and it started out like super simple. Like I had like a 1 cubic meter cube for a head, which meant you couldn't actually see my hands because a cubic meter is very big. And we evolved it from there, and then there was the cube was the stage 1 head design, and then we had like a stage 2, which was like kind of like a VR headset over like a little like mannequin head. And we really kind of pushed the late night feel of it. And we did like about a half dozen test episodes. We actually almost got a sponsor just on those. They wanted us to push the show in a direction that we didn't want to go, so we decided that wasn't the best thing. Even though like I really want to get paid to do it, but I mean, don't we all? And so I kind of like sat on it for a while again, because like after that I was just kind of put off. I was like, oh man, they don't want me to do it my way, they want me to do it their way, and it just kind of soured me to the whole thing. And I came back to it a few months later, and it still just wasn't clicking for me, so I put a couple episodes out there. And then last year, with the pandemic situation and being on furlough for most of the year, I was just like, screw it, let's just try something. And so I slapped together the garage set, and I thought, why not do it as like just a straight live podcast? And I recorded, I just started reaching out to all sorts of friends. I'm really lucky, and I have some really cool friends like you guys, and other people out in the YouTube community, the video game community, voice acting, performance capture. I just am super lucky and know a ludicrous amount of people. And so I started doing that, roughly weekly. And then I joined up with a crew called Pitch Your Game. And then I got, last summer I was, doing 4 to 7 shows a week with all of these indie game developers. And I always kind of had a little bit of fun when I'm watching your show live, because you're always like, oh, we had these tech problems, and I am like, I'm doing what you guys are doing backwards in high heels with a box on my feet. Like, I don't want to hear your tech issues.
We are kind of known as between technical difficulties as well.
And you know what I find interesting is like how much like test episodes and like things that were created that like weren't like put out there and stuff. Cause like when we started our show, we didn't do any testing or anything. Like we just like we like set up the camera, set in front of it, like boom, like
which is why we are between difficulties, because we figured it all out as we went along.
That's very true. That's very true.
Speaking of technical difficulties, Alex, is that looks like a new headset there.
A new headset?
Yeah, it looks new, because didn't the last time we talked you may have damaged a previous one.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, this is actually I got the Logitech like officially, like the officially partnered Logitech headphones with the Quest 2 when the Quest 2 came out. I got that Best Buy gift card when the Quest 2 was launched. I was like dumping everything on that Quest accessory headphones.
When we were on that Thom Clancy show, Alex went to adjust his headset, his headphones, and they snapped. And then he spent the rest of the show having to hold them together like this the whole show.
I think I was like responding to something that someone said, and I like yanked my head. It was a dab.
Oh, a dab!
It was a dab.
You broke headphones doing a dab. That's amazing. That is epic.
I don't dab. I must have been talking about
you
the
don't
one time
anymore.
I dabbed.
Shit breaks.
No, you do on my show, because my audience redeemed points to make you dab.
Oh, that's all coming back to me now. Yeah, I mean, I was just so traumatized by the broken headphones. I lost a couple of these details.
He was so traumatized by the broken headphones, he forgot about the broken headphones.
Yeah, I did. I just put it in the back of my brain somewhere where it couldn't hurt me anymore.
But kind of going back to the test episode thing. In part, it's like I'm a planner, even though I kind of like generally throw plans out the window. But so it's like I like to know what I'm going to do when I sit down to do it. Mm-hmm. And especially once I moved into this space, it was like everything we were doing was brand new. I mean, like VTubers existed, which I didn't find out until much later. I thought I invented this. You can imagine how crushed I was when I found out that I hadn't.
Well, you don't look like an 8-year-old little girl, which is good. So there's that. Yeah.
Well, so we sat down and we started like trying to figure out exactly how to make all this work. And I'm on effectively like the 4th or 5th iteration tech-wise of how the show is done. Because like without getting too much into the details of it, because like I'm sure that there are a few people in your audience who would love to like sit down and hear me talk about like how I did all of it and like coded it and all that. But the first, like now I've kind of like settled into a brute force solution, which is also still kind of elegant, but it's kind of brute force.
Like Leonidas from 300.
Yeah.
He's elegant,
it's like my shield slam looks great, but it's still just a shield slam.
Heard that shield slam. Obscure Nerd. What's up, dude? Mateo 311's in the house. Steve Knows is here. Future is here as well. We got some fucking YouTubers up in this bitch.
We do. Go check out
Hey.
Steve Knows' channel. Go check out Mateo's channel. They're really, really, really
Mhm.
good.
I am subscribed to Steve.
And Future as well, and Obscure Nerd. Obscure Nerd he's the next big thing. All right, I can tell. I see you, Andy.
I'm gonna take
your
this moment on the show
green
and be
screen.
like, hey Steve, hey Mateo, hey all you VR YouTuber guys out there, hit me up on the Twitter. Let's make something happen.
Oh, all right. Listen, that's enough. Okay, I didn't fucking bring you on here so you can just start taking advantage of this. Actually, we did.
Yo, you guys all know you want to come chill in my cyberpunk bar.
Actually, we should have a party in there.
We totally should.
Yeah. So yeah, I got building this nice little cyberpunk bar out right now because
So give us the high level, right? Like we don't want to know like all the lines of code that you typed, but like how are you doing this exactly?
I'm using Unreal Engine, teaming that with I have a Valve Index. If you couldn't tell from the fingers, and I'm using that to basically I made a game that isn't a game. Like I'm in a game environment, but there's no objective, there's no win condition, there's
no objective.
There's
the
no
objective was to make people laugh.
Yeah,
Or just to put on a good show.
Yeah, but that's the objective of the show, not of the
motherfucker.
I'm ruining it. Interview. Sorry, go on.
That's what I'm out of here. No. So I build out my sets in Unreal and I just perform in there and just translate what bits of college education, which is way too much, that I have. And yeah.
Sweet. So you're in a game. And then I guess you just like have a camera within that game, right? That you just rotate around and use as a spectator cam or whatever. Just Unreal, baby.
Yes.
There it is. Aspen Darkfire snuck in here, by the way. What's up, Aspen Darkfire? Don't think you can just fucking cruise in real quick and try to get away with it. We're gonna call you out. We see you.
I feel a little slightly unprepared because I don't have a chat window up right now, but
that's okay.
It's not my show, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, we're here for you. We're letting you know if there's anything important, we'll try to bring it in.
Yeah, we can't tell you about all the nasty things people are saying about you.
Yeah, there is a lot.
I do know that Mateo followed me on Twitter, which is pretty sweet. So
I think they're trying to hack in and bring up some porn on your face monitor.
Hey, this is a kid's show, all right? Let's not.
My firewall is strong.
Firewall is strong with this one.
So there's been some shit this week, hasn't there? There's like a bunch of stuff that's gone down. Now, Thom Clancy is in a game, but you haven't you don't make games, right? You don't have them out there. You don't have any published titles or titles that you wish to publish or anything, do you?
I actually I worked for 2 years in the games industry directly. I worked quality assurance at Midway Games right before they went bankrupt for 3 months precisely. I had a 3-month QA contract with them for Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. Anyone who thinks that they want to test games because they think it's going to be really awesome to play games that they want to play before they come out, you're wrong. You don't. Testing is a lot of hard work. And then I worked for High Voltage Software for another just about 2 years with them before they laid off the entire QA department in a restructuring thing.
So the moral of this story is, if you want a successful company, do not hire that Thom Clancy
as a QA.
Hey, High Voltage is doing quite well, and I can't remember where I read it or precisely how much it was for, but I do believe they just got bought out by a publisher.
Oh, okay.
And for the record, dude, working at Midway at all, that's fucking cool, right? Mortal Kombat, dude.
Hell yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
That was like a staple of video games when I was growing up.
Ditto, bro.
Yeah.
Ditto.
So what are your thoughts then on this Oculus App Lab? I'm sure you've seen everybody talking about it this week and how Sidequest is kind of just morphing into Oculus's onboard bullshit. So,
I
what are your thoughts?
actually haven't, because I've been caught up with. I also am really active in the VRA Live community, Virtual Reality Art Live, and they've been going nuts over the last week because Tilt Brush went open source.
Yes, it did.
And so I've just been caught up with that because like that's a huge like multi brushes out there, custom
Yep.
brushes are out there.
So
Like,
you can hop into an environment and with multiple people collaborate and work on an art piece together. And I
Dude,
think that is amazing.
they had it done in
Yeah.
like 15 fucking hours. Like
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
hours after this
Yeah.
shit goes open source, someone has a fucking working
Dude, I
multiplayer.
want to hop in there with like VR Rosie and some people and just walk around and create their magical
Get in
environments.
line.
Right?
I think anybody would do that.
What a great like charity thing that could be, right? You could come in and watch VR Rosie in VR. We got some shit going on here. Hopefully you're here somewhere, VR Rosie, watching this. But I think that's so cool. That's just so cool. Imagine if you could be there while, Picasso and someone collaborated on a painting and you're standing there watching it happen. I mean, maybe it's not the same, but it's
I see where your head's at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's just badass.
well, it's one of those things too where it's like it's so interesting because when VR originally came out, like I was all about it as a game medium because like all of us, that's what we saw it as. But as VR has become more ubiquitous, it's the stuff outside of gaming that I'm finding to be so much more interesting. When I remember seeing that like first Valve video for Tilt Brush, they had the Disney Illustrator drawing Ariel in Tilt Brush, and I was just like,
Yeah.
and then seeing how things like VR chat, alt space, Neos have developed like the social VR aspect. Seeing the people who are using this technology for things like virtual production, virtual performance, theater of the unseen, like all of this stuff that's just we pigeonholed this excellent and beautiful technology into like this really teeny space, and like it's great in that space, don't get me wrong, but we didn't know that like thinking outside of the box would just show us a much better box.
And what a nice box it is.
It is a nice box. I'm looking forward to it not being a box. That'll be great when it's a little lighter and easier to wear, of course. But like when you mentioned Neos, it triggered a bunch of like memories for me. I've gone into Neos twice, maybe 3 times, two or three times. I've gone into Neos VR. It's a social app, basically like following in the steps of VR chat. And if you're unaware of this program, I would highly recommend you get in there and check it out because it's like VR chat in the way that avatars are walking around and everybody's expressing themselves. And it's like that. It's like VR chat with the worlds, how people can just build worlds and all that. But the quality of everything in there is insane. And you can freely code stuff to each other like in there. I was in there for the haptic stuff and people were adding haptics to guns that like work in there. So they have like working guns that shoot projectiles and stuff. And they're like, oh, let's add a knockback to this projectile and let's put haptics on it. And they're like doing it on the fly while we're in there. And then they shoot me with it and now it fucking works. Like it didn't before. Hold on, let me add that. Boom. Like you can do like coding to the stuff in there in real time.
Wow.
And it's not a game, right? Because there's no objective, to his point earlier. But that said, the 2 times that I've gone into Neos to do that, I laughed so fucking hard. Like harder than I laugh doing anything else, just because of like the scenarios that ended up unfolding and the environments that we were in with the characters we were in, and all of a sudden somebody goes super small and they're walking around on my shoulder, and then
so I'm guessing full body tracking is a thing in there because Glitch Fandango just said that breakdancing in there looks amazing.
Yes, full body tracking is fucking mind melting, dude. Like
full body tracking with haptics and all that stuff. I mean,
but so the point I was making though is that I have had some of the most fun that I've had in VR in the past couple of months going into Neos and doing nothing. Like no objective, no high score, no get to the end, like just walking around chatting and experimenting and having a riot. So
You know, I have that on my machine, and I don't think I've ever actually even been in there.
it's cool.
It's one of those things where, like, I hop into alt space and VR chat and stuff with one of my buddies all the time, but he only has a Quest, right? And Neos is a non-Quest that's only on PC.
Mhm.
But you know, I feel like that is one of the ways of needing to be super successful in the social department, is needing to have Quest support and things like um is it Neos or NeoS or
Neos VR.
Neo?
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, it's part of what makes it awesome is being able to do the things that you were just saying, and
Mhm.
that isn't possible as far as I know with just a
Yeah.
Quest version.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
anyway,
I mean,
yeah.
like, I like I like the idea of the Quest a lot. Um, I don't like the Quest in practice. Like, oh no, what happened?
Nothing. He's just fucking around.
Wrong keyboard, and I fucking
Also,
moved us.
real quick, Joachim, if you're still here, hey, thanks for stopping by. It's okay if you don't stay. Your
Yes,
support
and
is
Joachim,
plenty.
I'm going to be on his podcast.
What?
Very shortly. I wish I knew the date
Oh, that's
off the
awesome.
top of my head.
Philosophy
yeah,
in VR.
Yeah, philosophy
Such
in
a
VR.
great
We're gonna go on there. We're gonna talk about some of the Facebook stuff, why Facebook sucks.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
good.
like some of the things that they're doing to bring up virtual reality, but while they're lifting virtual reality, they're also kind of stabbing it in the gut a little bit. You know. So,
Okay.
so we'll be discussing things like that as well as
Didn't
some of the
mean to
positives.
interrupt you though.
Yes.
So
Go ahead.
if you
Sorry
can
about that.
remember what the fuck you were saying, please continue.
Oh yeah, I was saying that I like the Quest in theory, but I don't like it in practice. And it's mostly because of the Facebook stuff. Like if
Yeah.
if Valve had made the Quest, like oh my god,
Right? Oh
I'd
my
have like
God.
5 of them.
Can you imagine that?
That's a good point.
That would have been a huge problem for me though, because obviously then Half-Life would have been on there. I would have had
Yeah.
to like go do something at like, you know, the DMV or something, standing in line playing Half-Life Alex, you know, hitting people in the face. Like I can't be able to bring that technology with me, or I just
Yeah.
will never leave, you know.
Well,
Not
it's
not
like-
that there aren't great games on the Quest, because there are, but you know, there's nothing like Half-Life Alex. So
I wish that developers, both hardware and software, would treat VR like a computer peripheral, which it is, as opposed to a console like an Xbox or a PlayStation, which it isn't.
Mhm.
Because I know Kent Bai has talked about this a lot, and a bunch of other just like smarter VR people than myself have brought this up, but it's kind of bullshit that we have all of these walled gardens for what are effectively just PC games. Like there is no reason why, say, Vader Immortal on the Oculus Store can't work natively on Steam VR. You
Right.
know, and like
Right.
I super appreciate that the non-Valve and Oculus people getting into the space have been incorporating Steam VR. You know, like the HP Reverb and stuff like that. And of course, they all have their own proprietary stuff too. But like, there needs to be this unified, you know, like core group of DNA between all of the headsets that people can then branch out of if they want. But it should all work on this like fundamental level. And
Yeah.
that just makes me sad. And that's why like I'm gonna, even like, let's say, you know, Oculus comes out with a headset and it's got like 12K monitors on each eye, and each one is 360 hertz, and it can run on an Apollo command module at, you know, like max frames, blah 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 blah, plays Crisis, all that stuff. I will still use a Valve product over an Oculus one because of their relative openness on the platform.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, I totally feel you, and I feel like it would have been, you know, obviously would have been better if Facebook didn't go the walled garden approach. But all Facebook cares about is dominating. You know, they buy competition, so they win at the game. You know what I mean? Like they're not ethical players. And it is what it is. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I am glad at the same time that they are starting to bring VR to the masses with a $299 all-in-one headset. That's pretty fucking badass. But like you said, if it were Valve, oh my God. You know, and you know we got competition coming in. We now have reports of over 60 different games hitting over $1 million in revenue on the Quest store. We have games like The Walking
Beat
Dead.
Saber numbers.
Right,
Like,
right. Beat
the
Saber
fact
numbers.
that they're accelerating, like that's just nuts.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
fantastic.
because I got my HTC Vive in 2016, and I mean the market saturation for VR headsets in 2016 was just like, it was so small it wasn't even worth really even tabulating. But now the fact that you're seeing like these hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue being generated by basically VR Guitar Hero
Right.
is nuts. And it's also nuts seeing how many people are trying to copy Beat Saber but just can't do what Beat Saber does well.
Right. Well, they are the masters of their domain. But you know,
and Pistol Whip.
Oh yeah, Pistol Whip's freaking phenomenal. But you know, Beat Saber is the grandfather of this type of rhythm game, right? But the fact that 60 plus Oculus Quest games have made over $1 million, that's some good shit.
Glitch Fandango and Zero Cool both say that they wouldn't have been able to get into VR without Facebook, that's for sure, which I think is an important thing to bring up in this conversation sometimes.
They're a double-edged sword. You know, and like, don't get me wrong, like as I said, it's just, I don't like the way Facebook carries themselves, but at the same time, I have to acknowledge that they have brought VR to the masses.
They certainly have. Get to the Choppa just rolled in. What's up? Get to the Choppa.
Yeah, VR Central just rolled in too. VR Central rocking the shirt today.
VR Central's here. Fucking Get to the Choppa.
What's up? Get to the Choppa.
Mateo says he feels like Facebook is just like pretending to play nice right now with Sidequest.
Oh yeah,
and I think you're right. They're gonna pull the Your Fitness Tracker and the fucking. They just keep
and all the other companies that they've screwed that haven't had such vocal members of the community, like Six from Live, and Your right to come out and tell people about it. So Facebook goes in and they find cool applications and cool things to do with their headset, and if they don't feel like buying them, they just straight up rip them off and then kick them off the store. If you don't believe me, I just Google this shit. This shit happens all the time with them.
You don't even need to Google that. Just look at what they were in front of Congress for last year. You know, I mean, they're quite literally under federal investigation for such activities.
Yeah.
AD says Sidequest is pretending to play nice with Facebook as well. Winky face.
Dude,
can they do anything though? Like, what can they do to Facebook? Nothing.
Go to Valve?
Yeah, I don't know. No.
Dude, I wish Valve would subsidize the creation of a Quest, a competitor with all of their ridiculous Steam sales, the way that we know Facebook is subsidizing Quest hardware, or the ability to sell the Quest at such a low price point with all of their ad revenue. Because I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. Like, they can literally throw money into losing money on the Quest to get more people in it, because they know that they're still making money selling ads, selling data, you know. And then the whole idea of the Quest is then you have an entirely new avenue for an entirely different set of data.
Yep.
You know, so it's just they can, like, it could cost them like $2,000 to make the $300 Quest, and they'd still sell it for $300 because they're going to be able to make that up with the data they're collecting from players.
And frankly, with software sales, if they're selling in the fucking millions, you know.
And what, there was an article, I wish I had it pulled up to show you guys, but there was an article saying how they can positively ID the player from the movement, from all the recorded movement they have on everyone in under 5 seconds or something like that. And they know nuts. Because everyone moves differently, right? It's another type of biotag, just like your fingerprint, you know, your eye, your retina, your face, your movement is also one of those. And now they can positively ID you by your movement so fast.
Which means they are collecting a lot of information.
They are.
Like you need a shitload of information, like hours and hours and hours of precise movements, like put into an algorithm.
Yeah.
Like that is.
And yet people are more upset that their Alexa might be listening to them.
Right. No, they just don't understand.
No.
It's just a lack of awareness, I think, which is probably why we at least talk about this shit at least once every fucking episode.
Yeah.
So I'm just reminded now of when the original Xbox One was announced and everybody was all like, it's always on and the Kinect is always listening to me. What about my children? And I'm like, yo, there's this thing called Germany, and Germany requires that every device has the ability to be completely powered down. Chill.
There's this thing called Germany.
Germany was like the first one to really go after Facebook too.
I know. And I give the Germans a lot of crap, and I make a lot of jokes at their expense, primarily because their bus drivers take like their bus system way too seriously. But they are like one of like the top tier watchdogs for customer safety and protection. And so when you know, like when you have like a feeling that like something's a little like kind of shady and not quite on the level, and then Germany goes after them for it, you are like completely vindicated.
Yeah, it's like confirmed. Well, thanks, Germany. MRTV and Voodoo D, just go ahead and thank Germany for us if you guys get a chance.
Exactly.
Mepper snuck in here. Hey,
Mepper.
Thanks for sneaking in. It's good to see you. And also something that I wanted to mention real quick. You're wearing the VR Central t-shirt. Wise Director is here in the chat right now.
Yes.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Yes, that's right. Dang it. I wanted to bring that up on the thing and I forgot. But we are doing a Dash World tournament. And it's going to be dope. Where we are, if you don't know what Dash World is, it's a kart racer. It is it's like a Mario Kart in VR. You grab weapons and you hurl them at the other players, and it's good fun. It's a good time. I will probably get destroyed, but I'm going to have fun getting destroyed, and that's all that matters.
And there's a bunch of people in it too. I don't know.
Wait, what is this game?
This is a game called Dash World. It is on.
How am I just now hearing about this just now?
Oh, I don't know.
Because we haven't talked about it on the only VR podcast.
Yeah,
that you should make sure you hear every week.
This is true.
So I don't blame you.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. It is a Mario Kart clone, but it does not have that Nintendo magic, in my opinion. But it is still super fun and super good. The graphics are great. The sense of speed is great. It's a very good game. The weapons are good. There's not a whole lot of bad things I can really say about it. Honestly, it's a ton of fun. One of the cool things about this game is that it supports all different kinds of controls and so I'm going to be playing tomorrow with a steering wheel. So I have my steering wheel and I'll have a controller in one hand that I can use to then grab the weapons and throw them, but all the pedals work and everything, so
you keep one hand on the wheel and then the other one's
one with the controller. And you grab the weapons as you run over the little question mark blocks.
That's
and
sick.
You chuck them at people, so it's going to be a good time. The wheel has force feedback. For the game, it's super fun. So it's going to be a good time. It's funny
because I was talking with some friends last night about how I need a first-person Mario Kart.
Oh, there you go, dude. You got it now. You got it. Dash World. Yeah. Check it out. There's a lot of good, the developers have put some good skins in there. There's a gamer tag skin. There's like a Soul Fox Racing gaming skin. There's all kinds of good, people that do kind of the stuff that we do. They have skins in the cars in the game. The developers are very active. They're constantly doing daily challenges and always upgrading the game and, putting new things.
So I guess we'll be streaming it tomorrow. I know Ski Vegas for sure. I probably will be, assuming I can just get up early enough and get everything running in time to make it. So I'll probably stream as well. So
I think it's
check it out tomorrow.
Noon our time.
Okay, that's cool. That should be perfect then. Yeah. Paradise Decay sneaking in. Hey, PD.
PD.
How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah, dang, I wish I had my thumbnail up there. Go into Skiva 007's YouTube channel and check it out. The stream is up there and ready. But yeah, it's going to be a good time.
So have you done this App Lab yet? Have you checked it out?
I haven't, but all it is it's just a link to a game that's on the Quest Store. You just can't see it. And the way it's working is these apps still have to go through a curation process. You can't just throw something up there, whatever you want. It still has to be approved. Still can't be complete garbage, which is good, right? I mean, we all see what happened with Steam. Everyone just vomits whatever game they want up on Steam, and But at the same time, that's how you find good games as well that are coming from sources that you might not expect them to come from. But at the same time, this is definitely going to be easier, right? Where a Sidequest would have a link that you would click to, and it would go directly to the Oculus Quest store and grab your game and put it in your games list. So you won't have to navigate to the unknown sources part anymore.
But isn't it within the headset? Like, can't you also browse titles inside the headset?
I believe you can, but you do need some kind of special link, and that's kind of where their partnership is with Sidequest, because there's not like a store, right? Like an unapproved store where you go to. It's just up there, but there's no way to see it unless someone has the link to it.
Gamertag VR, thanks for dropping in, bro. It's good to see you, man.
How's it going, buddy?
Gamertag VR just did a video with Mike from VR Oasis playing Propagation VR in co-op mode, wearing Behaptics, and I played that game solo last week, and holy fuck, it is definitely the most intense thing I've ever done in VR. Like, no joke, literally the most intense shit ever. I was digging deep into my survival skills to try to fucking
I played for like
make it through
2 minutes and noped out.
Yeah, it is seriously fucking intense. So check out Gamertag's channel for that video with him and Mike.
Yeah, and Propagation VR, by the way, is free. It's a free to play game, free to download. It's on Steam. It's not Oculus Quest.
And they added the co-op as paid DLC. That's how it works.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep. So if you want to play it with a friend, which frankly you do, because it's so fucking scary. Like, it is really intense. It's a short experience though, so curb your expectations there. It's like,
but with haptics, right?
With haptics, it's sick.
With haptics, it's even more intense. Like, you need something scary in VR to be even more intense.
It's fucking hardcore. So check it out. Yeah. But back to this app lab. So now the way I'm starting to understand how this works then would be like, let's say, because for me, I think about stuff like T for God. Like, if you have a quest and you have room to walk, you need to try T for God.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, it's probably the best quest experience that there is, I think.
Crazy. It's crazy good. Traversal is another one that does the same thing. Also excellent. So check out Traversal as well if you're a T for God fan. But like, my dad has never done T for God because he just has his quest. He doesn't have a computer that he like does stuff at home with.
Sidequest.
Like, he has a work computer, but he's like, I've tried to talk him into doing Sidequest, and he's like, it's my work computer. So for him to play T for God now, if I'm understanding this correctly, would mean I find the App Lab link and then send it to him, and then he can click on it, install it to his quest, and that's it.
That's it.
But he wouldn't be able to install T for God without.
But T for God, I don't think is on the App Lab yet.
It is.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then that's it. Then you just send him a link. He clicks on it. It'll load up into his Oculus app and install it to his headset.
See, and that's how it all should work.
It should, but we had years of people bitching instead, right? We had years of Oculus saying, no, that's not good enough to go on our headset. So, so then we had to have the rise of something else, which was Sidequest, which was awesome for so long.
Yeah.
It turned people off because they didn't want to click on anything that said developer mode, Well,
I'm not going to lie. I have dabbled since leaving the game industry with doing indie stuff. And I was working about this time last year with a good friend of mine on a project. And the first thing day one we said was, it has to run on the Quest. And it has to run well on the Quest. And we got it to like prototype stage, but then he got like a job that paid real money, so it stopped. Darn jobs that pay real money.
Dang employment.
Yeah, I know, right? No, he's doing like a dope job. Can I talk about? Yeah, I can. He's working for Jaguar Land Rover doing virtual reality visualization stuff for car design.
Cool.
So Yeah, like good for him.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at
I'm
all.
I'm still mad he's not working with me. But so like that if you, from a developer standpoint, if you make it and it runs well on the Quest, like a PC is going to just destroy it. Like you're very easily going to be able to hit, index resolution at 144 hertz,
Mhm.
and to the same point too, it's like, the perspective I was coming at it from, like the level designer and air quotes artist on the project, is that it doesn't have to be like the super photorealistic kind of thing to be an engrossing and fun experience. Like I love the VR games that I really enjoy are the ones that aren't realistic. They're the ones that have this artistic flow and like style to it, because it's like, if I want to go like shoot people in a whatever, I'll go play like fucking paintball
Mhm.
or like badass laser tag, you know, because I can just take off my headset and be surrounded by the realest graphics that ever reeled.
Mm-hmm.
I put on the
Yeah.
headset because I want to be in a world that I can't be in,
Yep.
Yeah,
When I
like
exactly. Yeah.
when
yeah.
I first did VR the first couple times, like one of my after my initial VR experience of a PSVR, I went and paid for an experience at a VR arcade to do something in multiplayer. And the whole time they're like, "Dude, I don't know, man. Are you sure? We've got like some like really like good looking shit. That game, the graphics aren't so good. And I was like, I don't fucking care. Put me in there. I want to see other people." And I was almost taken back by the fact how like I now exist as this like cartoonish fucking figure where like my hand is represented as like a big old polygonal mitten, like it like that it didn't take away from the experience for me,
Yeah.
and I think that's like to your point right now. I think there are definitely some people out there who your Joe and Sally Walmarts, but like maybe their kid who like puts the headset on and is like, all right, yeah, kind of good graphics, whatever. It's not PS5, and then like moves on. Like maybe there's that dude out there, but for someone like me or us, I mean,
Screw that
it takes
guy.
nothing away from the
I don't want to
experience.
be friends with that guy.
Yeah, I personally don't mind if I'm not dealing with realistic graphics. I guess it depends on the experience a little bit, but for the most
Yeah,
part,
well,
I'm right there with you.
yeah. The thing is that Trump's like the style of graphics is always going to be art direction and making sure that it's consistent through every asset. So like making sure that even if whether it's a coffee cup or some bigger like major piece of the game world, if they don't look like they belong in the same world, that's going to take people out of it.
Yeah,
But if you have like this simple polygonal coffee cup and it fits with a simple polygonal table, and then that table fits in the building that it's in, that style is going to help carry and sell the believability and the
hmm
consistency of the world that the game takes place in.
that's a great perspective to
Mhm.
share. I think like when you were talking about that, a game I was thinking about, Job Simulator. I feel like
Yeah.
Job Simulator is like the perfect example of that because they understand that there's a style to the aesthetic of everything. They need the coffee cup to look away, they need the fucking fruit to look away, the sandwich to look away, and like when you get in there, you're not thinking about anything other than how much fun you're having, and I
Yeah.
think that is probably one of the reasons that Job Simulator is so good is that it really does maintain that vibe across every single fucking asset in that game.
Mhm.
Super Hot is another excellent example.
Yes.
That really stark but easy to pick up art style.
Oh, dude, but then in Super Hot, when you go into your like room, your VR headset comes off, and
Yeah.
then there is the
The realism.
contrast of the different styles. Like that was such a huge moment for me. Like that was one of
Yeah.
my most mind blowing VR experiences. Just early in the first game I ever played at my house with my PSVR was Super Hot, and when I fucking pulled that trigger and the headset came off, dude,
Mm.
it literally melted my brain. Like I couldn't believe what just happened. It was so fucking awesome. Love that moment.
Still amazing. Still an amazing game.
It's
So good.
It's awesome.
So good.
I wish I played it. Like I should play it. I
Yeah.
should play it.
I mean that is
regularly.
one of those games that has made a butt ton of money on the Quest store, right? But I think the game that has made the most money on the Quest store that we know about so far is The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners. Has hit $29 million in revenue. $29 million. Like then you got people like should I say names like Blair from Lo-Fi that are like, oh, VR is just not a hit. It's just not a hit. Yeah, okay, dude. I'm gonna take my $29 million and I'll be over here bathing myself in it.
Right.
Like, come on. But
I mean,
you know,
then they can throw right back at you that Grand Theft Auto 5 grossed over $1 billion.
yes, of course, but a $29 million game. That system it's on has to be a hit. It has to be, maybe not the biggest hit ever. Maybe it's not the PlayStation hit, right? But it is a goddamn hit.
We're arguing about the definition of the word
economics
hit
of it all.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the economics of it, like so few games make actual appreciable sums of money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just so, I mean, it is absolutely a success. And it's a hit for the platform for sure.
Sure.
You know, not to belittle the success of anything, but it is, you know, it's like, especially this industry is so broad with video games that, yeah, you can, you know, a game can be a hit. Like Nuclear Throne is a hit. Love that game. Rami Ismail is absolutely one of the coolest video game developers and people I've ever met. But it's, you know, at the same time, you have, it still exists in the same world and on the same platforms as a game like Grand Theft Auto 5, as a game like Halo 3, or Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, you know, all of these huge hundreds of millions of dollars budget and revenue titles. You know, it's just, it's so nuts. You know, it's why can't there be separate industries for all of them so that everybody can you know, like really have this opportunity to shine without being outshined by other titles.
And you know, something that like doesn't get brought up often enough, I think, in this conversation is consumer perspective, because like as a consumer, time is really the main thing, right? Like I can only play one game at a time. You know, like I can't play 2 fucking games at once. So
noob.
Yeah, I guess. But like, you know, the point I'm making is that like I have to choose what I play wisely, you know, and there's games out there like Grand Theft Auto that are just like the appeal is just like across the board. Like if you're a gamer of any kind, there is something amazing in that game. Why? Because it's in a fucking amazing game. It is so good. It deserves
a full universe.
It deserves to be that. It deserves to have that status.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of VR software, in my opinion, is that it's just not that good. You know, like it's great. We have fun in it. You know, I can spend a handful of hours or whatever, but when it comes, you know, when Friday comes around and all these new games are dropping everywhere and I've got a backlog going, like, you know, am I going to spend more money on this game that like maybe I'll get an hour or 2 out of, you know? And I think that because we have so few people in the community, right, to Tom's point, we don't have billions and billions of PS4s out there, or Quest, like, you know what I'm saying here. That's the problem. You know, like there's billions of fucking PS4s out there, and that game is amazing. Whereas we might have a amazing game, but then there's not enough headsets to get that kind of number.
But what's one of the reasons why we don't have so many headsets out there? Because after the pandemic hit, all the they couldn't make them fast enough anymore.
I don't think that's you really think that's
I do. I think so manufacturing has been an issue. Gabe Newell came out and said, we can't keep up with the Valve Index demand because Microsoft went out and bought all of these screens for they bought like 2 years worth of the next 2 years worth of supplies. So they have to go out and they have to find new places to buy this stuff that can't pump them out as fast. We're in a time where so many people got sick that we're mass producing all of these products. Things shut down, production slowed down during all this stuff. Headsets, all of a sudden you couldn't get them anymore. There was all this hype because now everyone wants a VR headset and now they can't get them. everything is backlogged out months and months. If you buy an index, you're not getting it for a couple months, right?
Yeah,
You know?
so I feel you there. There is definitely like some like hesitation to order something that isn't going to show up for a month or two.
Mhm.
But like, I just don't see that being as like enough to like I don't think there's like millions of people out there being like, I just can't get one. You know what I mean? Like there might be
Yeah.
some people out there, but like
There's
millions.
also another thing to consider too, which is that the LCD and LED manufacturers have to work in an economy of scale where they can produce the screens cheaply enough to make money without gouging the person who's purchasing them.
Mhm.
You know, and we're not talking like standard 16 by 9 or 21 by 9 displays here. These are very specific sized, very pixel deep displays that are not getting purchased by Samsung to go into the next Galaxy S, that aren't being picked up by Apple for the new iPhone or Nokia or whoever. They aren't being picked up by TV manufacturers because they're not 70 inches. They're these really oddly proportioned and very niche products. So it's hard for them to produce. It's hard for them to invest in producing a lot of them and the tools to make more of them without there being that initial, or without there being the install base for it. And then on top of that too, we have to remember as well is that VR is to say it's in its infancy is a bit of an understatement,
Yeah.
because it's not only just this new technology that's giving us new ways of doing all these things, but it's kind of like where film was when film first became a thing. It is derivative of another art form, in our case, video games. And it is taking it right now, it's trying very much to be video games, but it hasn't figured out the language that makes itself different yet. Kind of like,
Yeah.
'cause prior to to Citizen Kane, movies looked like stage productions because everybody who was making them came from theater, and
Right.
they were framing it like that people were watching it from a proscenium theater. They were casting theater actors, and it wasn't until Orson Welles came along and made Citizen Kane that people figured out that cinema could be something completely different and completely its own. And we've had really great experiences in VR that could only have been in VR, but they're not VR, so to speak. Like Half-Life Alyx would absolutely never have worked as a standalone PC title.
Right.
Absolutely amazing in VR. One of the best games that on the platform, if not the best, hands down. But it's still just a video game.
Mhm.
It really hasn't.
Just a video game.
Yeah,
It is.
It is. It's
and I'm not saying that
Half-Life.
and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing,
I
but
know,
it's
I'm just
still
kidding.
just a game. It hasn't.
Yeah.
We haven't developed the language of VR that's gonna like to a point where it's like, in 15 years from now, I'm assuming we'll have that language, and the I'm using very using language very metaphorically here,
Right.
but we'll have that, and so we'll still have like video games, and you'll be able to play like Call of Duty, whatever number they're up to in 15 years, and then you'll have like Call of Duty VR, which will definitely be Call of Duty, but it will be a completely different experience.
Just like Super Hot. You have Super Hot flat screen
Yeah.
and then Super Hot VR, and the two are fucking night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I
They're
think
both really
Super
good.
Hot
Mhm.
is probably one of the games, like Super Hot, Half-Life Alyx, at least in my experience, are the two games that have come the closest to crossing that threshold into truly being a virtual experience.
So speaking of some of this stuff, I kind of wanted to dive into this little story here about. We talked a little bit about Apple last week, right? Talked a little bit about Apple and how they next year, Q1, might be coming out with a new headset. And I wanted to show here. There's a new article out that mentions Apple's dual 8K VR headset with eye tracking and how it could cost up to $3,000. So I'm just kind of curious on what you think.
I knew this thing was going to be expensive as fuck.
Yeah,
I knew this thing was going to be expensive.
They mentioned that the parts alone are going to cost them over $500 to produce this headset. But I mean, shit, man. So Apple, I feel like Apple is one of those companies, but when they come out with something, it tends to get a lot of eyes on it, right? And this is going to be a great thing, obviously, for Apple to get into virtual reality. But I can't imagine that it's going to be a great thing if they come out with VR at a $3,000 price tag. I mean, that's you could buy 3 Valve Indexes, like the full kit.
Maybe,
you know what I'm saying?
Maybe people will. Maybe this will sell Quests because Apple will come out with a headset and people will be like, okay, whoa, what's this VR thing? Because now they didn't pay any attention to anything that anybody does except Apple. So then Apple comes out with a VR headset, they try it somewhere, and then they realize they can get a Quest for $300.
Look, I as much as it pains me to say this, I completely agree with Alex. But no, it's the absolute truth. It's look at smartphones before the iPhone. Like there were Blackberries, the Samsung Blackjack, like they were these utilitarian email machines.
Yep.
And then we get the iPhone, and suddenly the smartphone becomes beautiful and fun, and it steps beyond the black plastic, blah 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 blah. When a true consumer technology company steps into the space, that's when VR is going to take off. Facebook is
even
not
with a $3,000 price tag.
Yeah, because Apple computers will sell well regardless of their pricing. Now, I'm not going to say that the Apple tax isn't real, because it is, but I've used Apple computers off and on my entire life, and their relative consistency and level of performance over the last 40 years has been pretty on point.
It has been.
Like there was that dark time in the 90s before Steve Jobs came back, but like Apple computers are good. And you can bet that the Apple, whatever they're going to call it, eyes.
eyes.
The Apple eyes.
The Here first,
the Apple eye.
The Apple eye.
Once that comes out, when you plug it into even one of their like M1 MacBook Airs, those things are going to scream, and they're going to be excellent.
Damn, dude.
So
what's up, Lipnox VR? Thanks for sneaking into the chat. It's good to see you. I said this last week, but this is a great time to be fucking Material Wood or MRTV or one of these like tech heavy focused VR guys, because if anybody's getting them, it's going to be one of those dudes probably. And
dude, I don't know that Apple needs to bow down to anyone. Like I feel like they don't give a shit. They're Apple. They don't even need to send their stuff out to anyone. They're like, look at what we have, and everyone's like, take my money, take my money. You know what I mean?
I should try and reach out to them, because like Apple and my dad used to have a good relationship because he wrote all of his books on Apple computers.
Dear Apple, my dad used to know Steve Jobs. Please send me your $3,000 VR.
It would be more like this. It'd be like, hey, Apple, Thom Clancy. You might find that name familiar. Yeah, we're related. I'm a huge VR enthusiast. I'm 50% similar to that other guy, but I'm much smoother.
It's not gonna work.
Honestly, though. Yeah. No, it's not. And absolutely not for assuming for a moment that the $3,000 price tag is real, because I have a feeling it will probably come in closer to $2,000.
Yeah, me too.
But at $3,000, that high price tags has never stopped people from buying Apple products in the past. And you know that the build quality on it is going to be spectacular.
Yep.
And you know that their first generation headset is going to probably have a higher like quality rate than the first generation Valve Index, because like I know I haven't had any problems with
Wow.
mine.
With your
I know a
index?
lot of I have had zero problems with
Bro.
my Index. And I'm
I've
super
been
lucky.
through two headsets. I've been through 3 or 4 sets of controllers. You know,
I know.
I
Yeah.
can't use my index during tournaments, or I definitely will lose, because shit goes wrong constantly. Like my controllers disappear, like you know, and it's like wait a minute, I paid how much for this headset? Like I went out and I was like, I need the best VR headset money can buy, and I got one, and the thing is constantly not working correctly, and it's
I know,
such a
including
super
myself.
bummer. Such a bummer.
Including myself and you, Skiva, I know 5 people with Valve Indexes. I am one of 2 of those people who has had near zero problems.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Yes,
That's good. That's really good.
yeah. And I mean, like, look, man, not shit. I don't have any wood here, but you know what I mean. But you know, Apple's going to come out and like, because with the exception of like, there was Bendgate with the
Yeah.
6 Plus.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was the iPhone 4 with its antenna issue. I mean, with the exception of like a couple of problems over the years, which is a surprisingly low failure rate compared to like, you know, Samsung with their exploding notes.
Don't forget, Dell had exploding batteries and shit that would like light on fire and stuff too. Yeah.
Right now has that riser card that's catching fire.
Oh, good times. Good times.
Yeah, Gamers Nexus had a great video where he broke down exactly what the problem was and all this stuff. So yeah, like NZXT has a specific computer chassis that's a fire hazard.
Well, that's great. I love using my tech and having it spontaneously combust into flames. I love it. It's my favorite. Like, oh, this tech is so hot. Oh, it's hot.
And that's why I build my computers myself.
Yeah, I do too. But you know, when we're building computers, we are not like sitting there soldering the you know, all the fucking points on the motherboard. Like we're still buying manufactured pieces. We're still buying a manufactured power supply or video card that could absolutely burst into flames still.
But we are paying attention to what gets plugged in where and with what products.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
Yeah. So,
well, shit. I mean, I am probably going to get an Apple headset just because, like, how fuck. I mean, because I want them all. I'm sick. I'm sick in the brain. I want all the VRs. Give me all the VRs.
I think we're all. I think we're all like that.
Yeah.
And there's just some people who can, and some people who can't. It's like the difference, right?
No, I mean, when I walk into the Apple store and I'm like, "You bitch, give me that headset." No, I'm just kidding.
We're enthusiasts, you know. Yeah. We are the first generation adopter enthusiasts for an entirely new group of technologies, and we don't care that it might be expensive. We don't care that the experience might not be perfect. We don't care that there might be a screen door effect, that we might have problems with our headsets, with our trackers, with our controllers. We care about the promise. And that's what we're here for. We're here because like we grew up with this idea of like from the virtual reality supercomputer guy in Jurassic Park modeling DNA, you know, we're here for Lawnmower Man. We're here for Johnny Mnemonic. We're here for all of these crazy promises of what virtual reality could be. And if you tell us that price tag is $20,000, we'll find a way.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Just like, who was it? Canon, right? Canon just came out with a $38,000 headset.
Yeah.
VR
the
with
reality. Yeah.
Yep. VR, AR, Canon, $38,400 headset, if I remember correctly. Now, I am a virtual reality enthusiast, and I will pay almost anything for a headset, but I will not be grabbing that Canon.
No. But now that you mention, I remembered reading that, and I didn't think about it until just this moment. But I have like a second-degree connection to somebody who is been really good with Canon, so I think I might send some feelers out and see if I can like go to a Canon place and just just see it.
Or
Dear
female-
Canon,
Yeah.
I used to know your cousin of a guy who used to work there. Will you please send
No,
me
it
a
would-
$38,000
It would be more
headset?
like this. It would be more like, hey, Andrew, can you please put me in touch with your friend Matty Hapoya, who is the huge YouTuber? I want to talk to him about talking to Canon about their VR headset.
So they can mail you one, and then you can mail it to the Between Reality studio, so we can also
You guys just
Um,
a little bit.
dump this dream in the fucking trash can.
I know, right? I know. But
No.
speaking of new headsets, though, we do have one other new headset that has been talked about, right? And that is that there is a new Quest in development.
Of course there is.
You know, obviously there's a new one in development, right? I feel like whenever, you know, when the PlayStation, you know, 5 comes out, there's like a month maybe where they're not working on the PS6. You know what I mean? Like they're always working on the next best
PS5
thing.
Pro.
Right. They're always going to work on the next best thing. If you want to succeed, that's how it goes, especially if your product is a success like the Quest is, right? So obviously they're working on the Quest 3. It was said by Mark Zuckerberg, and he mentioned so in a call, a stockholders meeting, right? That they are working on a Quest 3, that the Quest 2 is on the track to become a mainstream product, which is pretty awesome to hear somebody say. Now I'm still hoping that that this does not end up coming out like next month. You know what I mean? Like, yay, we all have Quest 2. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Quest 3 is out? Shit, what do we do now? You know what I mean? But I can't imagine that that's what's going to happen. I really feel like it'll be, you know, 2 years out or another year and a half out. But
Next
you know,
Christmas,
I
maybe?
wouldn't be
Next Christmas.
surprised if we saw the Quest move to an annualized release structure like cell phones because it's cell phone tech. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an October release for a Quest 3 or a Q1 2022 release.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the wrong approach. I really do. Like,
I agree with you entirely.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I thought
that doesn't mean
originally.
stable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I thought originally that with the Quest 1, that it was one of those things where they put it out there as a feeler, and they're like, let's see if people give a shit about this or not. People ended up giving a huge shit about it, right? And they were like, oh my God, give me this headset. And then they couldn't make them fast enough. There were, you know, things with the production, you know, they have fabric on this and they had, you know, so they went and they made the Quest 2 a lot more easy to produce, mass produce, to get out there. And they did fantastic with it. Now, I was hoping that was the reason why we got a Quest 2 so fast, because I personally know people that were like, I'm going to buy the Quest 1, and if a Quest 2 comes out next year, I'm going to be fucking pissed off,
Right.
and I'm not going to have faith in this company anymore. And if they continue to screw people by making them pay, I know it's only $300, but $300 is $300. That's a lot of time you got to work to collect $300, no matter who you are, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're Jeff Bezos.
At the same time, they're building it off of cell phone technology. They're building it on the idea of it being portable and social and take anywhere with you, like a cell phone. I don't see them.
It's not a cell phone. You got to put something over your eyeballs. And you got to.
I know, and I'm not.
yourself.
And you're absolutely correct. But at that price point, they're going to be able to put one out every year or every 18 months and have a reasonable expectation that there are going to be enough of their core consumers who will buy each and every iteration of the hardware, and then they'll have an even larger group of people who are buying on an every other cycle.
Is that how you go mainstream?
So
because even the iPhone didn't do every year. The iPhone originally was every 2 years.
here's the thing.
It was every 2 years.
It was every year.
I'm jumping in here, boys. Here's the situation. They're giving you the option. Okay, no one's making you do anything. Technology moves really fucking fast. So fast that the second they get a set, they're like, okay, this is the Quest 2. The next day they make a fucking breakthrough. But they need to commit some time to produce something. So they stop somewhere along the line and say, this is pretty good right here. Let's put it out and let people get in. And then a year later, they add all of the advancements that they've made and give you the choice. Now here's your fucking choice. How much of an enthusiast are you? Do you want to spend the money and get the next best thing this year? Or like I did for maybe the first year ever with my phone this time, skip a fucking generation, because I personally feel like my S10 Plus does a goddamn good job. I don't need the 20 Note or whatever for $1,000 or however much it is. And I think people will eventually start to do the same thing with their headsets.
But the install base of cell phones is so large that you have like a third of the entire population of the planet that has a smartphone, right? VR, you don't have that. So you're taking a very small customer base and you're chopping it up into pieces. And you're saying, well, I have a Quest 1 and this game runs like shit on this, but I just bought this thing. So you get screwed by the company. Like it's a little easier to let those people that get pissed off fall off when it's a cell phone, because you have so many consumers. You have billions with a B. You don't have billions.
But I think that's the fault of the perspective of the consumer, because the consumer goes into that with this expectation that like when they buy this thing, it's going to stay relevant. Nothing stays relevant
for at least a couple of years.
Well, it'll at least be
like
relevant.
A console.
I feel you, but no, because it's moving fast. And don't you want to get a better version?
I do,
if you can?
But so then why isn't PlayStation and Xbox putting out a new iteration every year? I mean, I guess you could say they kind of do with slim versions and this and that. But
they're GPU bound, though. And GPUs are on like a roughly a 3-year cycle, and consoles are generally on, it's kind of hard to go
5 to 6 years.
Some generations are longer than others.
This one was pretty long.
But at the same time, too, they're also bound up by display technology too. The Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 didn't push for 4K because 4K didn't have a huge adoption rate at the time. Now 4K has a huge adoption rate. So the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5 are native 4K. But cell phone technology, the backbone of the Oculus Quest, is constantly moving forward, and it's moving forward in a very fast way relative to computer space. And they're constantly finding new ways to cram more pixels into their screens. They're coming up with new ways of making faster, better, cheaper, and more power efficient processors. And it's just all of that is going to increase parity between the Oculus Quest and a PC. And the Quest, is my personal opinion and prediction, that the Quest will continue to move forward on a roughly an iterative cycle of between 12 and 18 months until the parity gap between the Quest and a PC is close enough, as is the different like between consoles and PC right now, that it will before it starts moving into a longer cycle period.
I agree with Tom here. I do. That makes perfect sense to me. And especially when you talked about it's the display thing too, right? Like we saw 8K TVs at CES right now. And if you're like a technology guy and you have fucking millions in the bank and you don't give two fucks, then you have an 8K TV, and you're wishing there was a console that would come out that would support this shit, and like there's that's the other end of the spectrum, like it's just impossible to fucking keep up with this stuff. The Quest is the computer and the screen. They can upgrade both simultaneously.
Yeah.
Just keep kicking it up like cell phones.
And as we just saw with Apple, that the new Apple headset's going to have 2 8K displays in it, right?
Which is amazing.
It does sound amazing.
It's absolutely insane because our eyes can't even perceive 8K.
Not when you're sitting this far away from a television, but when you stick it in your eyeball almost and it's touching, you can perceive it because you see the space in between the pixels.
Yeah, what's the resolution of the human eye?
And no one really knows, but it's very high. Same with the refresh rate.
Corridor Digital actually did a pretty interesting video where they tried to gauge the human eye and make a camera as sensitive as the human eye. I'll track it down and get you guys the link after the show. But at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to the hardware underneath that's going to be powering it. And again, this goes back to why would consider the Apple headset. And it's because Apple does such a great job of optimizing their software around their hardware. It's the reason why, like Android phones, and this is nothing against Android phones, but like how everybody's always like, we have X gigs of RAM in our Android phone. And Apple never even talks about their RAM because they don't need to.
Mhm.
Because, they could have like 3 megabytes of RAM in their phone and it wouldn't matter because they designed iOS specifically around that number.
Right.
Yeah, if they want to give us a dual 8K 240 hertz displays that we're going to put on our face, they're going to optimize the shit out of that code.
True that. And the interesting thing with the Quest, and I think one of the reasons why they are moving so fast too, is they're also producing their own operating system. And so is Apple, right? Apple has ROS that's coming, which is Reality OS. And I don't know that Facebook has named their operating system yet, but they are, because no one wants to be bound by the Android phone and have to go through Google for everything, right? So they're creating their own virtual reality operating system too to put on their headsets. So they can optimize it as well. And I think that's the way to go. I don't know if this Quest 3 will have that implemented or not. It'll be interesting to see. But what'll also be interesting is, will Horizons be out by the Quest 47?
Horizons is nothing. Horizons shouldn't even exist.
But here's the thing, man. I don't know if you were an Oculus Go user, but Oculus Go had Oculus Rooms where I could immediately click on you. I could go into a room with you. I could see you and I could talk to you. We could play checkers. We could hang out. We could hit a button for a game. A character would come through the door. We could both walk into the game together. Where the is that shit with the Quest? Like, what is happening here? That was supposed to be where Horizons was supposed to come in.
Dude, the software
isn't that
from
just
Facebook
called VR chat?
Yeah, but you can't dive into other opportunities. You can't dive into other software with your friends through VR chat. And I think it would be great if they somehow were able to pull that off.
Eventually they will.
I was about to say they do pull that off in VR chat. It's just all the users that make like bootleg versions of other games in VR.
There you go.
Yeah, right? Like Among Us and fucking all that shit. Dude, Among Us and VR chat's so fun.
It is.
I need
really
to play that again. I had so much fun.
We should do it. We should organize a thing.
Look, I'm just gonna put this out there, but I'm 98% positive that I'm the guy that told Skiva about that.
I think you may have been,
because it was in our message history before I saw it before we started the call.
Yeah, and that may have been.
And I never got invited to play Among Us in VR chat.
Well, we only played it once, and someone else organized the whole thing. I think it was Grumpy Duck, wasn't it?
Fucking complaining about being invited to shit when he's on the show.
I know, right?
What the fuck?
Look, Alex, I'm only the classiest of guests.
Dude, it's actually been amazing having you on the show, dude. Like, this was so fun. We had great in-depth conversation about everything. I loved this. This was really awesome, dude. Thank you for joining us, man. This has been
absolutely, man. It's so much nicer being the guest because I don't have to do any work beforehand.
Yeah, there you go. And you don't have to sit there and type.
That is how we felt when we were on your show. We were like, oh man,
wow, that was easy. We just sat there. We just did nothing. It was great.
I will say, I did. I had serious thought to building out a spaceship, so I could crash my spaceship onto your spaceship.
Dang.
But I put a lot of work into this cyberpunk bar, and I wanted to show it off. Because this great. I've shown like one picture of it on my Twitter. This is the first live demonstration of it.
Nice. Well, dude, I think it looks phenomenal. But when you do someday build a spaceship, don't even think it's going to compare to this one, because this thing is fast as fuck.
I mean, but when I build my spaceship, I'll just like straight actually fly it over to yours.
That's cool.
All right, we'll let you come back and visit. So what's next for you? Like, I know you've kind of been on a break with the show a little bit. I assume now that we've been talking about it on this show, that you're going to be getting fired back up. How do people follow you? Where do we go? Like, what's the best way to get in touch with that Thom Clancy?
Easiest way and best way is to find me on Twitter at Thom Clancy, THOM, because I'm fancy like that.
Right
You
down
can
there
also
on that
find me
monitor.
on. Yep. You can find me on Instagram at that Thom Clancy, because some jackass took Thom Clancy before I could get it.
What an ass.
And I'm not. And the funny thing is there's also a jackass who has that Thom Clancy on Twitter. That jackass is my wife.
Hopefully she's not watching the show.
Oh no, she's not. Of course not. She doesn't care about this nerdy stuff.
Yeah. My lady,
dude, like the new
watching.
thing, like I've been getting into painting Warhammer minis over the last couple months, right? And I'm all like, oh, I have a new mini coming in the mail. She's like, that's nice.
You know, I often thought about like, what would it be like to have a chick that's into the same things as me? And then I'm like, I picture it in my mind. I go into this flashback mode, and it's like me fighting with them, like for my headset. No, so maybe it's not a good thing that
I can say from personal experience in a completely different field that it creates a really terrible negative feedback loop that can lead to some very dark and bad places.
There it is. It's good to do your own thing from time to time, you know. Well, that fancy Thom Clancy, it has been a pleasure having you on the show, dude. Thank you so very much. Everybody check out Thom Clancy on Twitter and watch for new episodes of that Thom Clancy
Twitch.
show.
Yeah, check him out on Twitch. That's where he does his show.
I'm going to be taking it to YouTube.
Oh, YouTube? Okay.
Yeah, so the idea right now, and it's completely subject to change, is I'm going to switch to pre-recorded from live, because as you guys know, between technical difficulties and that Thom Clancy doesn't know how to run a live show, it's so much easier to do it as pre-recorded, and there's a lot of like kind of new small things that I'm working into it that are only going to be able to be done through pre-recorded. And so I'm hoping to have the first new episode up by the end of this month and switching to a weekly format from there.
Awesome, dude. Well, we're going to be watching. We're fans. Thanks so much again for bringing your perspective to the show today. And
hell yeah.
We'll see you very, very soon, man.
Yeah, we're going to eject you from the ship.
Say bye, Thom.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
See ya.
And like that, we have lost that Thom Clancy. That was really good. We have decided to do another episode next week, you know, because it's a weekly show and we're not going to stop that. So we're going to do that again next week, a week from today, Friday. And our guest next week, Anna Ribeiro. And Anna Ribeiro.
Of Pixel Ripped and
Arvory Immersive Experiences. Yeah. Yes. So this is the chick who cosplays as her own video game character. She, you know, has that awesome story about going from being like a, you know, making cakes or pies to becoming a game developer and all that. You know,
she's very talented, just incredible. Went from making from like Alex said, making cakes to making not just VR games, but really good VR games.
Mm-hmm. And she's cut from the same cloth as us. You know, she grew up in that retro gaming, and obviously, if you've played Pixel Rip, you know that kind of comes into it. She's definitely someone who I consider a friend, so I'm really excited to have her on the show next week.
I am very excited as well. I think she's going to be super awesome.
Yep.
And I know they have amazing games in the works.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get her to spill the beans a little bit on some of that stuff.
That'd be cool.
Thank you to everybody in the chat who's joined us today. Future, Zero Cool, Lipnox, Tones My Bones. I saw you got in here before the show ended. Nicely done. Wise Director. Thank you guys. You know, it's always a pleasure to have people here in the chat with us. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next week for episode 7 of season 3.
Sweet.
Until
then.
Sounds
good. All right, guys.
Take care, everybody. We'll see ya.